I struggled early on as a child with spelling, writing and reading. My handwriting was terrible, really, and it took me a while to learn how to read. I was quite a slow learner, and I remember getting confused with letters when I was reading them. I didn't really want to make a song and dance about it because I wanted to just be normal, do you know what I mean? But it did hold me back a lot. Junior school, as I progressed, I did slightly start getting better with my reading, but my writing was always terrible, and a future teacher would put on my report that my handwriting was disgusting. Nice, isn't it? Nice little comment from somebody, a teacher. But that same teacher basically assaulted me. I wasn't the first one he assaulted at school, and I wasn't the last. But that's how it was really in the 70s and 80s. It wasn't a kind of assault worded punch in the face or anything like that, but it was more of a kind of, well, I'll explain what happened. I had some homework to do, which I didn't really like, in geography, and I presented it to my teacher. He took it home to mark, and the next day he went over to me in class, told me to stand up, and I spelt the word kept wrong. I spelt it with a C instead of a K. Now, something seemed to trigger in his head. I don't know what it was, but he went ballistic. He really laid into me about me spelling it. I mean, I spelled the word wrong, right? Fair enough. But he used to call him the bionic finger, because he used to sort of prod you on your chest like that. He used to go, you boy, spelling kept with a C. But that's how a lot of teachers thought they should teach people, especially people who weren't as good as others. They felt they should beat it into you, and that was pathetic really, wasn't it? Looking back though, I realised I had a form of dyslexia. Now, dyslexia is something which in the 70s and 80s wasn't really known, I don't think, and I was too proud anyway, maybe, to say I had a problem like with reading, etc. Thankfully nowadays kids are looked at differently when it comes to teaching. Help can be given to kids who are suffering from dyslexia, ADHD, any other learning difficulties such as that. There's no cure for it, but they can find a way of dealing with it. And another word about that teacher, I won't mention his name, but we'll call him Bionic Finger. He was probably in his 60s when he was teaching me, so he may well have been in the war. So he may well have been suffering some form of PTSD. I don't know, because I don't remember any other teachers being as bad as that. Some came close, but not as bad. Anyway, now in my 50s, thank God for autocorrect, I suppose. That's helped me a lot, especially when the fact I'm a writer as well. Now in my late 50s, I still have forms of dyslexia. If I'm looking at a series of letters or a series of numbers and they're all the same, they kind of blur. I have trouble counting how many there are. Say if there's a row of 5 letters and I'm trying to count them, I'll go blurred. I'll go to 1, 2, 3, and I'll just you know. And that kind of thing was what I would have had when I was younger as well, and something that would have been a stumbling block in my ability to learn how to read, write. But like I said, this is something I've kind of realised over the past few years, having kids of my own, as well as sort of made me realise that I did have a form of dyslexia. Not as bad as some kids have, but it was certainly there. And it still annoys me to this day, being stood up, being told to stand up in class and being assaulted by a teacher because of something you can't help, rather than helping a pupil. Basically made that pupil be terrified of that man. I was probably 13 years old, and the guy, I mean, I had him for other classes and maths and everything. I was terrified of him. Terrified. And you shouldn't be terrified of a teacher, somebody who's meant to be teaching you. But this video is going on more about him, isn't it, rather than the dyslexia. But thanks for watching, and I'd be interested to know if any of you out there, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, who experienced similar sort of learning issues through dyslexia or anything else. Maybe you had a teacher like mine who didn't understand it and kind of stunted your educational growth. But anyway, on that cheery note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.